Hey everybody, Prepper for the Ages coming at you again for the first day after the big floods. So I had gone to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning because I was just so exhausted after a day of driving and working and driving again and trying to get home. And the next day I woke up at about 4:30 in the morning because there is no sleeping. You sleep when you're dead. And it was a day of, okay, putting on my muck boots, the hunting boots, the muck boots. Yeah, those are the things that really saved my butt. I went downstairs, I slogged through the water. The batteries for the little lawnmower that could, you remember I used to talk about the little lawnmower that could? Well, the batteries were in the water, plugged into the outlet. So, and yes, of course, I was dumb enough as the breaker's way across the other end of the basement. So I went and I courageously unplugged those things before more bad things happened. I took them out of the water and I put them in a bin, and they were lit up. They were all lit up. So I would imagine the shorts were shorting and the lights were lighting because it didn't work anymore. So I haven't gone back to see if they worked. So went through, assessed the damage, my first aid kit bin, so that I kept all my first aid supplies in, bandages, meds, bandages, inhalers, what is it, the stuff for the, what are they called? I'm just so tired. Stuff for enema kits and Pepto-Bismol and antidiarrheals and all of the stuff that I had meticulously, swabs, gauze pads, tape, all the stuff that I had worked years on gathering. The bin it was in a nice plastic bin. The bin had floated, and since it was not meant to float up, it wasn't balanced, so it tipped over, filled with water, and then sank again. And a lot of my bins on the floor did that. Certainly not the ones with books in them, but enough of them floated up, tipped, and sank again that it's just a pain. So don't do what I did. Yes, originally the bin was up on one of the shelves. I had to get a whole bunch of stuff and rearrange the shelves, and since I was in a hurry, it never got back up on the shelf. So yeah, shelves and racks, let's do that. That's a good thing. The things that you wish you had the energy and time for. Like, I thought of it, but didn't happen. I went through, I was picking stuff out of the water that was valuable to me, but there really wasn't any place to put it. So outside was still wet, the flooding was still there. So I did the best I could, picking through all the stuff. I cried into the phone to my brother, who flew out and rescued me. He was there for me physically, he was there for me emotionally. He had a lot of great ideas, like get a dumpster now, hire 2 kids. Okay, well, we say kids, they graduated college, but get some strong kids to take stuff up and put stuff in the dumpster. So the first day I was there, so the first day I was there alone, I managed to drain the basement by myself, and there were some things that helped me do it. And there were some prepping things that helped me do it. I had the foresight, about 14 years ago now, I had the foresight to go when the getting was good and go to the big box store and get a pump that you set on the floor, and that would, in water on the floor, and it would pump your basement out. So I fished that out of the box. I fished that out of the top rack in the basement. I tried to use the hose that came with it, and that was crap. So I went up and got the garden hose from the garden. It's a big farm hose. I was tired of all of the other cheap hoses, so I got a big, farming hose, and managed to put one end in the pump in the basement and run the other way down to the ravine. And it got rid of most of the water. That got rid of everything but the last 2 inches where it couldn't soak up that last 2 inches. It was phenomenal. Now the other thing was that what I did was, while that was doing that, I bailed out the cellar hole, and the cellar hole had a foot of water in it. So I managed to take it down enough so that when I opened the basement door, the water started flowing out the basement door into the cellar hole. And by that time, the cellar hole had started to drain on its own and go down on its own. So I mean, as valiant as I sound, bailing out the cellar hole, a lot of it was gravity. The rain stopped, the water was going down. So so I just waited until it was slightly lower than the level of the basement water, and I opened up, and then the water started coming out. It came out slowly, but it was a little river, I don't know, not even a river. It was just over little rapids, I don't know, coming out. I made sure that things didn't float out. I made sure that the way was clear, and when it started to equalize, I waited a little while, and then it did the same thing again. Did that until I was pushing the water from the rear of the basement to the front of the basement by the doors, and pushing that and sweeping that and pushing that and sweeping that. I did not sweep that with a broom. I swept it with a winter snow shovel, because that was better. I did it that way. It worked. So that's what I did for the entire first day. The concrete, because it was a concrete basement, it was still wet, but that was getting the water out. And then that evening, my brother flew in to help. So he is a hero, and he is very valiant, and he understood what needed to happen. So what else did I do? I have an old, those rug fans that the hotels used? It's the little thing that goes woo, and it's like at rug level. I had one of those. That was my second prep that I had, and it was in the water, but once I drained the basement mostly, that thing came on, and it's been going for days like a champ. You just pointed at water and pointed at water, and it slowly dries that area, and it's been really, really wonderful to have. So those are two things. First, the pump to pump the stuff out of the basement, and the fan, the big blower fan, a carpet blower fan, to actually evaporate the water. And it basically, the basement door is still open. I'm very grateful that, like yesterday, the air started to dry out after months of being just so saturated and so humidly awful. It was terrible. So that was the first couple of days. That was the first day before my brother came. The really first day was surviving the flood. The second day was pumping out the water. And so this video's long again, so I'll tell you about the next day in another video. But that entails using fans, using the pump, my central air conditioning going out, because we used everything on the same circuit and we didn't know that. And yeah, that's for another video. Okay, all right, I hope this finds you well. Stay tuned for another day of when the floods, the post-flood cleanup and devastation and disaster. Okay, all right, I hope this finds you well. Take care. Bye.